I don't believe in God. I know God.
I love me some Jesus.
You're doing too much.
That's crazy. That's on the next episode.
It's the moon reading.
I rock with you, YaYa.
It's all love.
They better listen to this advice. We good.
You crazy girl.
This is what this show is about, all right? We
Put
keep
the
it real.
real and real talk. The God in God talk.
And that's a wrap. Today is Tuesday, November 1st, and you're listening to Real Talk on Godtalk, a podcast for people who skip church for brunch on Sundays. What's good, YaYa?
Hey, Truth. Hey, Truth. That was me. I skipped church for brunch, literally, this Sunday.
That's what's up. That's okay. That's why we're here.
Right. Some things just don't change, eh?
That's it. Did you have a good time?
Yeah. Halloween weekend 2022.
Yes.
It was a movie. How about you? Well, I guess what'd you do?
Didn't do much. But it was the first year that I got to hand out candy to the kids in their neighborhood. And we officially became the people who hand out the full size candy
Raisins?
bars. No,
Oh,
no,
y'all
no.
lit.
Yeah,
Y'all
we lit. So
Okay.
all the kids, as he was handing them out, they were like, "Oh, we got the big one." I was like, "Yes, you did."
Okay.
Yeah, so I was really
Oh.
excited about that because like we have everything like set up for Halloween, and so we had this candy for like 2 weeks ago. Went to Costco, stocked up, got like the good candy. You know what I'm saying? I was like, if we're gonna do it right. And so
Okay.
they cleared us out. They cleared us out in no lie, half an hour.
They probably text their friends who text their friends.
Yep, they were like, "Yo, pull up," and it was really cool because it was like I didn't get to because I was working. I didn't get to get all the kids who like got out of school like right at school, but I got all the after school kids.
That's nice.
You know,
So
and
you
I was
probably
like,
got
"This
the
is
younger
up."
kids at that because like older kids will wait.
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly. So that was really nice, and it was very endearing. Like even the older kids were like very into like the Halloween spirit, and they were like, "Oh, trick or treat," you know. And I was like, "Oh, that's what's up." Like I remember being that age, you know, like yeah, let me get some candy. You know?
Right.
So yeah, it was cool. It was lit. How about you?
Okay, that's nice. Okay, no raisins. I like that energy. My weekend was amazing.
Nice.
It was pretty full. Like we did it up the whole weekend.
Nice.
Let's see. Had some of my college friends were in town on Friday. Got up. That was cool. Saturday, actually, it was my first time ever attending a lucha libre match.
You know what? I saw your story and I was like, I was like, she don't know what she in for.
I was not ready, but I had a blast.
A blast, right? That's what's up.
Oh, I had a good time. Like, I learned some about it because not to sound corny, but I'm very like just thoughtful about other people's culture. Like for those of you who don't know what lucha libre is, it's basically wrestling, like professional wrestling, a lot very big in Mexico specifically. It's cool. It's like wrestling. I've always been into wrestling. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, D Generation X proudly presents to you the Road Dog, Jesse James, the badass Billy Gunn.
Look at you. That's old school. Yeah. That's like glass breaking, Stone Cold Stunner era. I love that.
You already know. I've always really been into wrestling. And so it was so fun. Like, I got my little mask. So we got ringside seats, which is cool.
Nice.
So got my mask. I was out and about. That was cool. They also had like a little Dia de los Muertos celebration there too, which was cool.
Okay. That's cool.
A lot of like local international for us, but local Mexican beers, Mexican tequila.
Nice.
Bands. Like it was pretty cool.
Okay.
So that was Saturday. And then later Saturday, usually, those of us who have been long time Real Talk listeners, y'all know me and my husband usually do a Halloween party, but we gave it up this year. We gave it the power and it was worth it. It was so nice.
Nice.
My good friends, my best friends threw a party. I forgot to ask, did you dress up?
I didn't. I didn't get a chance to. Yeah. Because it fell on Monday. The plan was that I was gonna do something on the weekend, but my partner got stuck out in Cali, wasn't able to make it back on time, and then I was just like, it's like, I didn't really have any plans after that. But the only thing I did today was I was gonna be an avatar, so I have the blue lipstick, so I just painted my lips blue.
Okay, you were an adult.
I was a whole adult. Yeah.
Right. Well, we we usually do a couple costumes. I'm gonna wrap it up, but we were an angel and devil, right? I was La Diabla, and he was an angel in disguise. I was actually devil in a blue dress, which was a little risque for me, which, it wasn't like slutty devil or anything like that. But it was a little risque for me because y'all know we used to do Hallelujah night, much less Halloween.
You won't catch YaYa in that.
Right. And I'm gonna be the devil herself. I went straight for the gusto on that one. But my excuse was, well, technically we were both angels. But
you know what? Hey, that's where theology comes into play, folks.
Corny little theology joke, but
that's what's up, though. It sounds like a dope weekend.
Yeah, it was fun. If y'all can hear my voice, I am struggling right now, still recovering. You 30 plus can't do it like you used to.
You sure can't, but we try.
Listen, we try.
But that's good. I'm glad you're recovering. Glad you had a good weekend. That's what counts.
It was definitely cool, but now that we are kind of over Halloween and moving on, y'all listeners know this is our favorite time. Well, no, it's both of us.
Favorite
time of the year.
Yeah.
And we've went over Halloween a couple of times in the past. So this episode, we are turning our attention to the greatest holiday crossover event of the year.
Dun, dun, dun.
We're talking about Halloween's sister, cousin, neighbor, friend, Dia de los Muertos, which is celebrated on November 1st and 2nd. And that's translated into English as Day of the Dead, right?
Yep.
And so while we're at it, we'll also be talking a little bit about the Catholic holidays of All Saints Day and All Souls Day, which are celebrated on the same day as well.
Yep. And so let's get into it a little bit. Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah. So to give you all a little background for those of you who didn't see, what's that Disney movie?
Encanto? No, not Encanto. Gosh, darn it. The other one.
Coco.
There you go. Coco. Yeah.
Oh, so cute. So for those of you who missed the tutorial in Coco or
who missed the step-by-step.
Right. It's a 2-day celebration, mostly celebrated in Central and South America, but especially in Mexico, where it's sort of like a national holiday, really taken up by everyone.
Yeah.
Like a lot of our commonly celebrated holidays and festivals, Dia de los Muertos actually started off a little bit differently than how it's celebrated now.
So originally, an Aztec festival celebrated in December and dedicated to the goddess of the dead who ruled over the afterlife.
Mictecacihuatl, Lady of the Dead. And for anyone who knows more about Aztec mythology and wants to give us the quick 1-2,
for real,
we're begging you to correct us.
Feel free, slide in our DMs with a voice note.
Yes.
Because that is the best way that I learn.
Right.
But yeah, so that's the original Aztec festival celebrated in December, right? But then, colonialism did its thing. And when the Spanish arrived, they blended indigenous traditions with their own in a process known as religious syncretism.
Right.
Exactly. So think of like the origins of Christmas, right? That's how it was like blended in, right? And so they joined the Aztec festival with the characteristics of Catholic holidays of All Saints Day and All Souls Day, a celebration of those who were also lost, both saints and lay people, on November 1st and November 2nd.
Right. So basically on Dia de los Muertos, families use this time to remember their deceased loved ones by preparing and furnishing an ofrenda, which is like an altar, or not like an altar, it is an altar, to welcome the souls of those loved ones who are lost and kind of like welcome them from the spirit realm into our physical material realm.
Right on, right on. So let's tap into the fun part. We did a lot of history covering there. So let's tap into the fun part, right? So that means October 31st to November 2nd is like the big time holiday, right? If like you've crossed over. So you're on the other side. These are the days you're
Right.
waiting for.
So there's we are really not going good with the pronunciations today, but I'm gonna try. I think I remember because we did an episode where we talked about this. There's Samhain, the
Right,
Celtic holiday,
Mhm.
which kind of has a lot of the same themes of
right.
remembering the dead, honoring
Mhm.
them, you know, welcoming them. That is kind of what was drawn from to create, not create, but the current day incarnation of Halloween that we celebrate, you know,
Yeah.
kind of came from that.
Mhm.
There's also All Saints and All
Mhm.
Souls Day, which is November 1st and 2nd,
Mhm.
and Dia de los Muertos, which is
Yep.
November 1st and 2nd. So that basically means October 31st through November 2nd is on.
That's your time to shine.
Right.
Yeah. So they say, like, energetically and according to the cycle of things, this is when the veil between the spiritual world and the physical world is the thinnest. I'm sure y'all have heard that in many times. It's been referenced in movies as well. So that's that. What do you think?
What do I think? I think that it sounds legit. Like if culture, I'm just saying that was very studied. It sounds legit. No, but for real, I feel like if various cultures and various indigenous cultures, um, not to mention my own culture, you know, African
Mhm.
diasporic
Yeah.
ancestor veneration, just thinking and holding ancestors dear. If various cultures are saying that this is the time when it's on, I definitely believe it.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like why would I not?
Yeah.
I think it makes sense, you know, if on the like I definitely believe in the spirit realm and the physical material realm.
Mhm.
Like I believe that um they both exist. I
Yeah.
don't believe that they're as distinct, you know, as like mainstream
Mhm.
culture would have you mainstream materialist culture. I feel like, you know, our culture
Yeah.
really pushes like what happens and what you can measure by the five senses is the only thing that counts.
Yeah.
But like I feel like our everyday experiences tell us there's more to life than that.
Mhm. Yeah. I agree with that. I think one of the things that I really enjoy about this time is seeing how different cultures and areas also in Central and South America celebrate Dia de los Muertos, because um not every culture does like an altar.
Oh.
So for like my mom's from Nicaragua, and for them it's more of a it's also a time, but it's also a time where like you go visit those like at the cemetery. So
Mm.
you go visit them, and like it's kind of a time that's just taken out in the same way where it's like everybody's on the same page of like this is a time to go and visit, you know, those who have like crossed over to the other side, but not so much in the sense of an altar.
Mhm.
So it was funny when I have conversations with people, 'cause they go, yeah, like, you know, it's like, yo, you know, you got to do your ofrenda, and I look like, it's not what we do.
Like, do you
But
have to do your ofrenda?
yeah, I
Right.
was like, yeah, but it's a really interesting to see just all the ways that it is celebrated, and how this one specific, like, it's like a celebration, you know, a remembrance as well, is like takes form in all these different cultures. That's pretty cool.
No, that's real talk. I very much appreciate that it's a celebration. I think in our culture, and when I say our culture, I mean like white, Western, like you know, regular ass everyday
Yeah.
stuff that's
Yeah.
normal, quote
Mhm.
unquote. It's death can be just so taboo, or like people
Mhm.
just don't, and not just taboo and like not just taboo like oh I'm scared to die myself, or oh I'm very aware of my own mortality, but like
Yeah.
taboo like it doesn't have to be a sad thing. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be filled with dread. It doesn't
Mhm.
have to be associated with evil. It doesn't
Uh-huh.
have like, you know, and
Yeah.
I appreciate that when Dia de los Muertos is recognized
Mhm.
in American culture at
Yeah.
least, it really is something that I can admire and be like, yes, let's celebrate.
Mhm.
Like, let's
Yeah.
celebrate. Like, I think it's so funny when like I was about to say when white people come to Black funerals, but I'm not gonna lie, I've actually never attended one funeral I've been to, I've seen white people come to. That sounds crazy, but
you just got me thinking that. I was like, I don't think
that sounds crazy. I don't mean it like that.
No, I hear
I
you.
I just mean it like, culturally, people celebrate death and honor death differently.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when I see conversations about it online, like, in the Twitter space, whatever, it's like, it'll be such a surprise that at, Black funerals, if there's wailing, that deep expression, or even if there's celebration and dancing. When I see that, when I see people look at, funeral processions that happen in New Orleans, for example, that celebration, that dance, that how that culture celebrates death and life and the transition. Like, I think that there's just so much room for different ways of expressing it, or at least appreciating the different ways people express.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a part. I think, and especially like Black and brown, for Black and brown folk, like there is this point that we do celebrate somebody's going home, like there is like room and space for that, as well as the grieving part. It's I feel like Dia de los Muertos helps us see like the very like various ways that this can be celebrated, not just like dread. And especially, I like what you said, like not just the evil part, because I feel like a lot of people associate Dia de los Muertos with like being evil, or like, you're like summoning spirits and stuff. It's not that at all, you know what I'm saying? Like it's having that connection that, like, if we've had a connection in the physical world, like that doesn't just stop because you're physically not here anymore, like that, like no connection just ends, just because somebody crosses over into the other side. I don't believe that. I feel like if the connection looks different, something's still there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's in a reminder. It's in something that you hear. Like the connection is still there. It just looks different, and that's okay.
That's real talk. That's real talk. And so you said something that made me a little curious. We be calling it a home going.
Yeah.
And that implies a theology that the other side, the spiritual realm, is home. Heaven, or whatever it is that you see that's not this, is home, as opposed to this physical realm being home. What do you think about that? What do you like? What do you think? What's home?
Yeah, so I definitely, when I think of heaven, when I think of like the other side, whatever you want to call it, for me, I do see it as a home going, homecoming, whatever. I do see it as like, it's not this. That's for sure. It's not this physical world. Because of all the pain that is in this physical world. So when I think of, death or what happens beyond that, for me, I really do see it as a place that is so irresistible that even if your physical wanted to stay on this side, your spiritual will not let you when it's your time. And I say that because, like, I remember when my grandmother passed, I had, the honor of being with her in her last moments. And I remember during that time, I think I was very much in a state of like, what happens after this? Like what happens after this? And I remember the morning of that my grandmother passed. I remember just looking at her, and she was just, like, very peaceful. And my grandmother towards the end of her life, had like this one eye, like one of her eyes was like shut a little. Um and suddenly, it's her last breath, suddenly both of her eyes open, and she looked up way past me, and she took her final breath. And in that moment I realized, I'm like, oh, yeah, you heard your name, you heard somebody calling you, and it was your time, and you couldn't resist it even if you wanted to. Like, whatever she saw, whatever she heard was like, yo, I'm gonna catch y'all later, but I gotta go.
Mhm.
You know, and I've experienced probably only like my grandmother in that state. I don't think I've ever been in the final moments of anybody else, but um that experience to me always sticks out when I think about what heaven is like, because for that second it made me realize like, oh, whatever physical ailment she had here, it was ready to be healed like soon as she got
Mhm.
and reached the other side. And like I just genuinely believe that.
Yeah, yeah, that's real. Um, I just hear you. You know, we have talked about this in
Yeah.
our own personal time, even off the show. Being with our grandmothers in their final moments is something, you know, we share.
Yeah.
It's something I think about a lot. I think about it a lot, truth. Like I'm not sure if I could go like all into it right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
Y'all
No,
gonna
for sure,
catch me
for sure.
balling on this show. But you know, being there with her in her final moments, I don't know if for me it made me really look at the other side as home, because I feel like, you know, when you are lucid and pretty much aware,
Mhm.
it can maybe be scary a little bit to not know what exactly is going to come.
Mhm.
And you know, my grandmother was a woman of very strong faith, and so I
Mhm.
feel like she not I feel like she said, you know, I know I'm good, I'm with God, I know where I'm going.
Yeah.
And still, I think, you know, as the people who are here on this earthly realm who could be with her, you know, in
Mhm.
her final moments, it was our job to make her feel calm and make her feel good and make her just kind of help her just feel comfortable and as happy as she could be in that time.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I moved like growing up and stuff, just my whole life, I've moved around a lot. And so like I never really had a sense of home. Like when
Mhm.
I think about Brooklyn, like, yeah, Brooklyn's home, but it's not home. Think about
Yeah.
DC. DC's home, but it's not home. Like, you
Mhm.
know, like I don't
Yeah.
have a place like a lot of other people that they're like, oh, this is definitely home.
Mm.
That and for me, that's why I feel like home is wherever I am. Like wherever
Mm.
I'm at, that's home. And so in those moments with my grandma, I like to kind of bring it back.
Yeah.
It's like we were there in the physical realm, helping her to get used to no longer being here and, you know, making that
Yeah.
transition into the spiritual realm. But I can't look at the spiritual realm as home, because when I'm here and she's with like, you know, she
Mm.
is still like you said, like she's still here.
Yeah.
Here is home because that's where I am. And when I go to the
Mhm.
spiritual realm, I don't know what that's gonna be,
Mhm.
but that may not be like, you know, whatever's after that might
Yeah.
be home, or after that might be
Yeah.
home. And so I really like I look back to that time of just being with her and comforting her and
Mhm.
singing with her and praying with her.
Yeah.
I really look at that as like home is just in that connection between us.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like she had
Yeah.
one foot in the door and one foot out the other door, like, you know, and
Mhm.
so like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Listeners, I hope y'all I hope y'all are okay with me just really trying to figure this out, like where I'm really at
I
in
think
conversation. I
I
don't know.
think like from what I'm hearing at least, you touched on something of like how we think of home. And I feel like how I think of home is not so much um a physical space,
Mhm.
um, but more of the people, right?
Mhm.
And so like it sounds like, you know, when you're with your grandma, that's home, you know, so it don't matter where on a map you are, that will always be like a sense of home. You know, for me, that's how it felt with my grandma, because like I grew up with my grandmother, you know, she lived with us and my parents. And so
Mhm.
I did not know a life without my grandmother until she passed. And I was like um in my early 30s. So like, you know, to wake up one day and suddenly I don't hear her voice no more, you know, that takes a lot of getting used to, because how I grew up, our rooms were back to back. And so, you know, like to suddenly not have that when, you know, I go see my mom, you know, that was it was weird, and it still sometimes is a little weird, but I think as like you were talking, I'm like, yeah, home is definitely for me wherever the people that I love the most are, you know.
Mhm.
And I feel like maybe that's why people when they leave, like, like your grandmother and mine who are like very strong in their faith, I've seen people who were very much know, like, it feels sometimes like they know, like they just
Mhm.
know. And I feel like maybe a lot of that, maybe it does come with age, it does come with wisdom, it does come with going through life and going through some stuff. Um, but I feel like a lot of that, they feel like home, and
Mm.
I think a lot of this holiday, the remembrance of it helps you remember, what home could feel like even when, you're not all together, you
Yeah.
know?
I mean, I
Is
feel you so much. I think on that point of life without like we are still here on this physical realm. They
yeah.
have moved on to the spiritual realm, but we
Yeah.
are still here. Life goes on and we still
Yeah.
have to have joy. We still have to
Mhm.
celebrate. And
Yeah.
I think for me, that is just like the power of the Dia de los Muertos,
Yeah.
All Saints Day, All Souls Day. Like we are welcoming your spirit here. It is
Yeah.
a celebration. We have to make it
Yeah.
a hospitable place
Yeah.
still. And I think it's just a reminder that that person is still with you, their
Mhm.
spirit is still here, the
Yeah.
ancestors are still with us, but we still have to do the things here
Yeah.
to keep the joy, keep the spirit, keep the celebration.
Yeah. It's that I think we always come back to that balance that we have to have in life, and even um in the afterlife there is still a balance that really does help the world keep going around.
Thank you so much for spending time with us here at Real Talk on God Talk, a podcast for people who skip church for brunch on Sundays. To keep the conversation going, tell us what you think by following us on Instagram or Twitter at Real Talk on God Talk.
It's YaYa, and you're listening to the moon reading. By the time you hear my voice, it will be November 1st. White rabbit, white rabbit, white rabbit. Are you familiar with the ritual of repeating white rabbit 3 times for good luck on the first of the month? My dear Jamaican grandmother taught me this tradition, and it hasn't let me down yet. But like a lot of things presented to us during childhood, it came with very little explanation as to why. So, in honor of my grandma, Truth's grandma, and all saints and all souls, and Dia de los Muertos, I decided to finally do a little digging to connect with my grandma and understand the tradition she shared. There seems to be some confusion about the actual origins of the phrase, but according to the Farmer's Almanac, the first written record of saying rabbit rabbit on the first day of the month can be traced back to the 1909 British periodical called Notes and Queries, where the author says that his daughter always says rabbits on the first day of a new month for good luck. The word is usually best said aloud and bonus points if they're the first words spoken for the day. While the author provides no specific explanation, it's most likely connected to the fact that rabbits are associated with luck and have been for over 2,000 years. Well, now we know. Go on and say your white rabbits away if you so desire. Go forth and ride the wave of new energy that comes at the start of a new month. Enjoy it. I know I will. And shout out to all my Scorpios out there.
Yeah, it's definitely Scorpio season. So yes, we know it's special season for YaYa around these parts.
Special time of year.
Yes, exactly. I love it. I love it. But thank you, YaYa. Always making sure we stay right around here. That's for sure. We appreciate y'all. We thank y'all. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Real Talk on God Talk. And let us know how you are planning on celebrating Dia de los Muertos, if you do celebrate, or what are traditions you have. And also, as YaYa said earlier, help us out with some of the pronunciation that we had going on in this episode.
Struggle bus, OD. But what I'll say before we go is, do your thing. Follow us on social media. If you want to share the name of a loved one that you want to just shout out for remembrance, we can honor them too. We'd love to. We're here. Love you, Real Talk family. Until next time.
We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Bye.
I don't believe in God. I know God.
I love me some Jesus.
You're doing too much.
That's crazy. That's on the next episode.
It's the moon reading.
I rock with you, YaYa.
It's all love.
They better listen to this advice. We good.
You crazy girl.
This is what this show is about, all right? We
put
keep
the
it
real and real talk, the God in God talk.
And that's right.